Welcome to the Healthy Habit Hot Seat, where we chat to extraordinary humans and world-leading health experts to dive deep into the intricacies of the daily habits that have shaped their success. Remember, success leaves clues, right? I'm your host and resident healthy habit coach, Loz Antonenko, and I cannot wait to help you re-energize your life so you too can create opportunity, vitality, and abundance to become the master of your own incredible healthy destiny. Now, let's get into today's conversation. Adam Hudson, welcome back to the Healthy Habit Hot Seat. Lovely to have you back here, mate, sitting comfortably. You know, you got the light from the sun coming in through the window there, reflecting off the water. Amazing times, mate. Thanks for coming back.
My pleasure.
Now, in the previous episode, we spoke about some of the challenges that you overcome, as well as some of the successes you've had in life and business. Now, you've traveled around the world on the speakers circuit, and I'm sure you've eaten some pretty diverse foods on the way. If you knew you only had 24 hours left to live, what would your day's menu look like?
Food-wise?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about consumption generally. Why not?
Life, I would spend it at the beach for sure. And I would spend it with my partner. And I don't know, I'd probably keep it light on the food side. I'd like to go out light. So maybe have a really nice glass of wine at the end of the day, and just some good healthy foods throughout the day with some chocolate as well.
Chocolate and wine and good company, mate. Sounds like the perfect day. Now, from here on in, we're going to get into some of the nitty-gritty details of your daily habits. To start, what would you consider your healthiest habit and why?
I'd probably say my, talking about my physical health would be, recently I bought an infrared sauna, and that's been a game changer. I really love that product. It's a 3-seater one, very high quality one with the inbuilt Netflix and all that. And that piece turned out to be really great because I can sit in the sauna for 40 minutes every day, which I do. Not only do I get the health benefits of that, but I get 40 minutes of uninterrupted study in while I'm in the sauna. So every 7 days a week, 280 minutes, I suppose that is, of personal development every single week, or growth or whatever. And so that's been a really healthy habit. And also making time for my relationship. I have been in and out of relationships my whole life until the one that I'm in now. And I think this is the first time I can honestly, hand on heart, say that I prioritized my relationship and made it really, really, really an important part of my life. And that's paid off really, really handsomely, you know, in terms of just quality of life and having somebody to share it with.
Thanks for sharing. And that's a really poignant point that you touched on there. I think a lot of people, especially in this era, and if you want to label yourself the entrepreneur, we spend so long chasing success. And at the end of the day, what's it all for? You know, your health equals your wealth. It comes from the same Latin derivative. And if you're spending so much time chasing dollars, chasing dreams, hustling, and you're not spending quality time on those relationships that mean the most, what's it all for?
So, 100% agree.
Now, I'm sure our audience would love to know, do you, Adam Hudson, have any unhealthy habits?
Yes, I have an unhealthy appreciation for chocolate.
What kind of chocolate?
I'm not too fussy. I like chocolate and I like red wine. Those are the two things that I enjoy. I do have a bit of a sweet tooth. But apart from that, I've left a lot of the unhealthy habits in my 20s. I don't party anymore. I don't get drunk, you know, I just, you know, it's just going to hurt too much the next day. So not really. I'm pretty good.
Yeah. And you know what? Chocolate and wine are full of polyphenols. So they're really good for anti-aging. So, you know, I think there's worse spices. Do you have any habits that you'd like to change?
Oh, look, I'd probably like to, there's not really. I mean, I no, they're just sort of like, I've spent the last couple of years just sort of breaking my addiction to entrepreneurship.
I love the way that you phrase that, actually, your addiction to entrepreneurship, because it is a thing.
Yeah. That's a whole nother addiction, right? Work is a whole nother addiction. And in the last couple of years, I passed a milestone for me, which was, proper authentic financial freedom, like never having to work again. If all my businesses failed, just the income of all my assets is more than enough to pay me for the rest of my life. So when that moment happens, you really start to, I had a fairly big moment of really considering like, where to from here, because the entrepreneurial instinct is set bigger goals and go for more, you know. But then you really, for me, I really thought about what is more, what is more, like more what? So for me, and when I say financial freedom, I mean living really well, not just like paying for food. I mean, living well, traveling overseas twice a year, first class, and having a great time, having enough money to do it really well was my goal, and I achieved it. So,
congratulations, also.
Thank you.
That's a massive thing, man. That's huge.
It is for an entrepreneur who's come from Browns Plains, because your whole life you've worked for money, and you like literally just there it is. You get up, you go to work, you get paid, and you work for money. But now I'm really blessed that money works for me, and I heard these things in books, and I studied these things, and I went to all the seminars, and I did everything. But to actually be living that is a really beautiful experience, and it gives you such a luxury of deciding how you want to spend your time and your attention for the rest of the summers that you have left. And you know, I want to explore art more. I've got some beautiful art in my home. I want to learn to cook. I want to travel slowly and purposefully around the world and spend meaningful amounts of time in beautiful places and getting to know the locals. So my partner and I are now setting about doing those things with people that we love and care about. And it's just we just recently went for a beautiful trip with our neighbors actually who live here in the building, and to just experience great things with great people is just what I want to do more of.
And this is it, when you can break down the addiction of entrepreneurship and success and actually understand what it means fundamentally within ourselves. I mean, that's an incredible habit to break.
Oh yeah, it's not easy.
You know, exactly. Now, do you have some sort of morning routine that you follow? Is there like, you know, we've got like the savers from the Miracle Morning and all those types of things. Do you have something that you follow every day, Adam, when you wake up?
It varies. It kind of goes in waves. Like right now I'm in a running phase. So every day I get up, I'll run for an hour. Then I'll go into the ocean. The ocean's pretty consistent because I live like literally on the ocean front. So I come up for my run, I'll go into the ocean for a swim. And then I don't start my day generally business-wise before about 10 o'clock is an ideal. And I don't work Fridays anymore. So I only work Monday to Thursday. Fridays, I have a massage every day. Every Friday I have a massage. I get a haircut every second Friday just for the conversation, because I like, my hairdresser is one of my good mates, and just some downtime just to look after myself. So morning routine is fitness, ocean to connect with that, sunshine, and then at night I have my sauna time. So before dinner, I'll usually have a 1 hour sauna, or 40 minutes to an hour, and I'll watch that. And then from then on, it's time with my partner and so on.
That was actually my next question. So, you know, we've got morning routines which set us up for success, and starting work at 10 a.m., man, like that's a great habit to have. And at nighttime, so with your nighttime and your bedtime ritual, how long before you go to sleep are you starting to wind down?
Yeah, so I bought an Aura ring a while ago.
Yeah, nice.
So the great thing about those is it holds you accountable, or gives you a dashboard into your sleep. And so since I've had that, I've become a lot more conscious of the impacts of my sleep. I know what time I should go to bed now. I know the impact of alcohol. I can literally see it on the heart rate. You have 2 glasses of wine, my sleep's not as good as what it is when I don't. So my ideal bedtime is between 8:45 and 9:30. So I'm usually in bed around 9:15, and then I'm up maybe 6 o'clock. I don't sleep that whole time, but I get well rested. So yeah, I look after sleep is a real priority for me now, because for many, many years I would sleep 5.5 to 6.5 for a long time. But I figured out, you know, as an entrepreneur, I'm really effective probably 3 hours a day, maybe 4. that I can get done in 3 or 4 hours what most people get done in a week when I'm focused. And then there are certain periods in my entrepreneurial calendar where I do deep work, which might be, and it might only happen maybe 4 times a year, where for a week or 2 weeks, I am there 7 days, all day, doing like writing a book or creating a new training program. And when I'm in that zone, like over Christmas, I produced a 62 video course. I mean, literally between Christmas Day and New Year's Day, I shot this. And so I get these times of deep work, and I don't know what it is, but somehow instinctively I tend to fire up and come alive when the rest of the country goes on holidays. And then I like to be away when everybody's at work. That's when I'll go to Qualia, or I'll go to wherever I want to go on holidays when everybody else is not there. I don't know whether I've been like that for years. It's kind of like a very contrarian in timing, and it works really, really well for me. I love nothing more than working on a public holiday.
I can actually completely resonate with you on that one. I'm exactly the same. I think through all of lockdown last year, like I published a book, and, you know, you just get into it, and this is it. Like, you are a true entrepreneur and you take advantage of every moment that you have in opportunity. And I think it's about turning adversity to your advantage as well. Now, you mentioned that you don't drink coffee. So you drink decaf coffee?
Yeah.
Do you use any sort of biohacks other than your infrared sauna throughout your day to optimize your vitality?
No, not really. I do meditate. Of late, for some reason I haven't, but I used to meditate religiously every day, at least once a day. So that's a bit of a biohack, I guess. I don't drink coffee because of anxiety. I struggled with, for a period of time, proper full-blown panic attacks and anxiety.
Wow.
And so no coffee or no stimulants was part of my recovery. And I just love coffee. I love the smell of it. I love the ritual of it. So decaf was just a great way for me to continue the ritual and the flavor and all of that without the problems that it gave me of feeling freaked out. So other than that, not really. I'm not too precious or precise about those things. And I just try to stay calm. I try to keep things in perspective. I try to let things go. There's an amazing book. One of the best books I've read in a decade is called, it's by Michael Singer. It's called The Untethered Soul. And that book changed my life. So if anybody's looking for a great read, or you can get it on audio, it's called The Untethered Soul. And it's just a terrific, it's a real genuine gem of a book. So you might enjoy that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, mate. You know, it's fascinating what you said about the coffee, because a lot of people think, you know, we have a massive coffee addiction in this country. I know where I live, there's like a coffee shop every 200 meters, and it's crazy, right? And it's fascinating when you do a coffee detox, for whatever reason it is, if it gives you palpitations or anxiety, how much more calm and how much more in control of your emotions you actually can feel, because you don't have these external things integrating with your physiology. And, you know, there's other ways to find momentum. Yeah. You know, you go in the ocean, you're in infrared sauna, feeling so totally optimized without the caffeine and all of those drug induced states. Now, your journey this far has been full of lots of twists and turns, and you've taken some massive leaps of faith to find yourself in the position that you're in today. How do you align purpose with values?
Oh, wow. That's interesting. So
easy question with a hard answer, right?
Yeah. Well, I suppose, I don't know. That's a complex question.
What would you suppose, maybe I'll reframe that. What would your highest values be? Your 3 highest values?
Just in life generally, you mean?
Yeah. I guess like the things that you live your life by, that you sort of worked out. These are the things that drive me.
Yeah, I think it's a different context. Like, for example, in my partner, my personal relationship, kindness was very high up on what I was looking for in somebody. So I guess that's a value. Mm-hmm. Doing the right thing. You know, I think these days, a lot of times people just don't, you know, and just doing the right thing. It isn't that hard, but it's just so uncommon. Unfortunately, the more business I've done, sadly, you just meet more and more people that just don't seem to get that basic principle of
Ethical behavior.
ethical behavior. It isn't
Yeah.
that hard to work out. And instead of stepping up to the line, they just take the easy route of playing below it. So yeah, just doing the right thing, being honest with yourself. I don't know. It's not something I sit and think about that much these days. I just think generally being kind where possible is always a great path. And equally, when life calls for it, sometimes you have to be a lion, and you can't be a little kitty cat. You've got to be a prick and to stand up for what matters. And that's equally important in life. You can't just be kumbaya your whole life, because life will fuck you sometimes. And if you don't do a bit of fucking back, then that's not normal. You've got to have both.
I totally agree. And so like when we think about those three values, I guess that from what we've spoken about in the last 2 episodes is that your purpose in life is to, teach other people how to do that. And you've had to, basically present a lot of those traits in the way that you've handled business. It's all about the light and the shade, the yin and the yang. It's about being a lion and not being fucked with, but also on the same time, embracing kindness and embracing ethical practice, because it fucking matters when you're a prick and you don't have to be. Like, there's no point doing it, all the time. You've just got to have a bit of abrasiveness sometimes, a bit of a mongrel, I guess.
Yeah, you definitely need both sides in life. But just the art of getting older, I think, is that nuance. As you get older, you understand, and mostly being an arsehole is not called for. It's very rare. It's important to have it there, but it's not used very often. So yeah, I think the art of good living is just So it's a hard look. I just think it's something that as you get older, it just comes naturally.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing. Now, what would be your top 3 tips for purposeful productivity? So how do you actually get stuff done in a day? You mentioned that you sort of don't like to start work till 10 and you sort of work Monday to Thursday and then you spend the rest of the time in relationships. But in those times when you are in deep work or when you are being productive, what are your tips to maintain purposefulness in those situations?
Yeah, I think there's a few here. The first one is make sure that you're working. A lot of times people are working under really poor questions. So they're solving problems to questions that they're getting answers to questions that they shouldn't have even been asking themselves in the first place. So make sure that the ladder is on the right wall and the best before you start climbing it, right? And the best way to do that is go, what to do? So it's mindfulness. What am I about to do? Why am I about to do it? And is that what I want to do? Because a lot of times people don't do that. They're just in habit mode, and the same shit that's been going through their head for the last 50 years is still going through their head. So they just keep doing the same shit and nothing's changing. So before you do any work, make sure that what you're about to embark on, you've thought about, you've looked to the top of the ladder and go, hang on a second, is that where I want to go? Are those steps being the price I have to pay to get there, the price I'm willing to pay? So make sure you're doing the right work that is on the ticket, right? Before you start going through your to-do list, make sure it's the right things. And then the next thing is make sure you do the most important thing first and not the urgent thing. And it's so easy to hear those words, but you've got to sit down every single day as an entrepreneur or somebody who's actively involved in the shaping of your own life in any way. It is a competition for your attention and your effort. And both of them are a limited supply. So your job is, as an entrepreneur, is to allocate resources well, including your own attention and effort. So look at all these tasks that you've got to do and go, which of these are the most important right now? So for the last 2 days, I've been working on a PowerPoint presentation for the CEO of the company that makes the most money for me personally and my business partner in that company. Now, there are probably 15 other really pressing things that need to be done, but that there is by far the most important thing to be doing right now. And it involved, like tomorrow night, I was supposed to be doing a private workshop for 200 of our high-end clients. And I just went, you know what? I don't have enough time to prepare for this in the way that I want to prepare for it. So I've asked the people who run the program for me, please contact our high-end clients, tell them that I'm not ready, and push it off 2 weeks, because I'd rather do that, because my attention is being consumed by something else right now that is of higher importance. So it's just understanding you can't have it all, right? When you're young, you think you can have it all. You think you can do it all. You can't. You have to make choices. You can't be a competitive Ironman and worth $100 million, or trying to build $100 million fortune and have a glowing, thriving personal relationship. It's an or situation. And so you got to choose what you want, and just let go of that idea that you can have it all, which everybody seems to want. You can't have it all. I didn't have a relationship that was really working until I was 45 years old, because my girlfriend was my business partner called Joe. My children were the thousands of customers we have around the world. That's why I didn't have a functioning relationship prior to that, It wasn't the room. So you've got to understand, and that's why people go, oh, well, you've made a successful set of companies and all that, but it wasn't free. It cost in other ways.
Yeah, I mean, the only resource that we can't renew is time, right? Mm-hmm. So, it's all about how do you spend your time and how do you prioritize that. Man, they were great tips. Now, I'd love to know, as we start to wrap this up, what's the one thing you're focusing on this week? I mean, you've just talked about a whole heap of stuff you did between Christmas and New Year, but what's the one thing you're focusing on this week, and what measures will you be putting in place to give it energy? Is it that PowerPoint and associated with that?
Yeah, at the start of the year, it's getting very, very clear with your key generals. In my case, I'm not a CEO anymore. So I have 4 companies and I have a CEO that runs each one. So at this time of year for me, it is sitting down and doing my presentation saying, as the director and founder, this is the direction that I want to go this year. This is exactly what I expect over the next 2 quarters from the company. Here's what I think you're doing great. Here's what I think you can do better, where my concerns are. Let's talk about it. Are you pumped? Are you excited? So it's giving them every chance of being successful and being crystal clear about my expectations. When I was younger, I wasn't crystal clear in my personal relationships, my business relationships. If you're not crystal clear, then there's no, you don't have to look very far to see why things aren't going how you want them to go. So I spent the last 3 days working on a keynote presentation all day for presenting. I presented to my business partner this morning, and I'll present to the CEO tomorrow. So it's about giving meaningful direction to the people who are going to carry out the mandate. And then they'll come back to me and ask, and I'll say, I want 3 things from you. I want to know who's going to do this work. I want to know how much it's going to cost. And I want to know when it's going to be done and in what order. So they'll then come back with the who, what, and when, and how much. I'll sign off on it, and then I'll check in with them every month. And I make it crystal clear as well what my availability to the company is, which this year is very little. So I won't help. Joe will do some, and that's our availability. So the rest of the puzzle, you're going to have to go and hire and solve, and come back to us with a budget. We'll approve a budget, and let's get to work.
Dude, that's an epic week.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So but clearly,
What is it results in tens of millions of dollars in revenue.
Of course.
Companies.
Which is why it's a priority for you.
Super important. And the outcomes for our customers. It's the results of the decisions we make this week will be felt in a very real way by our customers, which will create their impression of us as a brand. Are we doing a good job? Do we care? Are we structuring fair offers? Did we really support them, or did we just say that we'd support them and then just buck them around for a year? So what are we actually doing here? So the returns are long and deep for the right kind of work.
And it's leverage, really, because where you can leverage your time right now, it's going to pay in multiple dividends for the future, not just for yourself, but the legacy that you're leaving. Yeah. You love sharing knowledge, as you've just mentioned, and adding immense value to the lives of others through investing in social causes. What's your most ambitious goal for the next 12 months, and how will you make it a reality? Is it an extension of what you just spoke about? Have you got some other things in the pipeline, some exciting projects?
My most ambitious goal is to end the year not in a complete ball of stress. That would be amazing. So
great.
Not into complete ball of stress. But last year I ended exhausted. I was absolutely hammered at the end of 2020 because we had such a challenging year with COVID. I mean, we had a $2 million event. We had the entire convention center, front to back, $2 million to put it on. 3 weeks before it was due to go on, ScoMo went on television and banned the event. So you can imagine having spent $2 million. We spent, no joke, $700,000 on sandwiches.
Oh, was that the Reliable Education event that you had?
Yeah, we spent $400,000 on our event management company, who rightly weren't refunding because they did the work, right? They did the work. And so, and on the flip side, you're holding all your customers' ticket money, which you've already paid out huge chunks to other people. So this is a unique challenge where you have to turn around to your customers. So we're not refunding you because your money's over there. We run the event at a small loss, so we don't make any money on it. But you're the guy in the middle, and so that knocked us around. And it was just such a challenging year. Our traffic costs tripled towards the end of last year, and just a whole bunch of shit went down. And so I'm now making and I've been working on this now for 9 months, that I want to semi-retire by March 30th this year. And I've been working at it. I was actually supposed to be March 30th last year, and COVID came along and changed everything. But this year I'm hoping to get back to like 2.5 days a week work, and maybe 2, and then the rest of the time being mine. And that too being mobile, so I could be anywhere to do it and not have me as the face of any of our education programs or businesses.
Mate, that's an exceptional goal. And I have no doubt that you will achieve that. You know, whether it's anything happens that's outside of your control, I know that you've got that one covered for sure, because your heart's in it. When you just mentioned everything you were talking about, there was so much conviction in your voice. So finally, Reliable Education and Uspired are incredible resources for people to learn more about how you can help them strategically shift their earning capacity through education. For anybody in our audience who's interested in learning more, where can you suggest that they start?
Probably Reliable Education is a great place. So just go to reliable.education. There's no .com or anything. Or you can go to uspired.com. Just download the app. And if you want to hear from me more, I do free. No, not free. It's charged. It's $25 a month. I do coaching on there pretty much every day. I go live. So it's like Instagram Live, except you pay to follow. And so I go live Monday to Friday, pretty much most days. And I take you inside my life as an entrepreneur, show you inside my businesses, my investing life, and just very honest discussion about what's going on and what I'm doing to be effective in the marketplace.
Amazing work, guys. And those URLs will be in the show notes. Adam, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you today, mate. And I really appreciate the time that you've taken out of your busy schedule to discuss some of the challenges, wins, and the daily intricacies of your life. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Healthy Habit Hot Seat, mate.
Thanks, Lars.
Thanks. Bye. Thanks so much for joining us this week on the Healthy Habit Hot Seat. Make sure to visit lozlife.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, I'd be stoked with a 5-star rating on iTunes. Better still, tell a friend and share the love. If you loved this episode, you might want to check out my book, The Healthy Habit Handbook, available in softcover, ebook, and audio form on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Balboa Press, and all good bookstores. Be sure to tune in for our next episode for your fortnightly dose of inspiration from some of the world's most successful and healthy lifestyle masters. Remember, stay inspired. I'm Loz Antonenko, and ciao for now.